If you look at mobile platforms, you really see where that path ultimately leads. And it's not a pleasant place. It's a place in which the most greedy games with the most aggressive pay-to-win mechanics and the most loot boxy mechanics move up and up the charts until they completely dominate the ecosystem. And now the entire ecosystem is, well, to use Cory Doctorow's term, enshittified.
Tim Sweeney, CEO of Epic Games, recently offered candid insights into the mobile gaming landscape. While discussing Unreal Engine and Fortnite's future with Christopher Dring of Game Business, Sweeney's remarks on revenue generation in the mobile space felt like a direct, albeit unnamed, critique of HoYoverse. Let's dissect how Sweeney's observations illuminate HoYoverse's operational ethos.
You get into a lot of scenarios where there are loot boxes or things that resemble loot boxes, and you play paying for a chance at something rather than buying some specific identifiable thing you know.
Sweeney's concerns profoundly reflect HoYoverse's wishes or warp systems in their games. These are unequivocally digital slot machines. Their design, sensationalized animations, dazzling lights, casino-esque audio cues are all meticulously crafted to simulate the visceral thrill and dopamine drip of gambling.
Please. Yes! 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 I fucking win! Oh.
The real financial cost of each wish is deliberately opaque, buried under layers of obscured in-game currencies. You are unable to directly purchase the desired items, making engagement with the gambling mechanisms mandatory. Odds of winning are undisclosed, and there is a pity system, but it merely exists to nudge probabilities in your favor without impacting the company's bottom line. This, coupled with character time gating, weaponizes FOMO, the fear of missing out, and cultivates artificial scarcity and urgency. This isn't mere conjecture. The US Federal Trade Commission, or FTC, earlier this year filed a complaint against Cognosphere, Genshin Impact's distributor, alleging deception regarding loot box odds and confusing in-game currency processes. The subsequent $20 million USD settlement and mandatory transparency changes underscore the legal acknowledgement of HoYoverse of these predatory practices.
You could be spending upwards of $300 just to guarantee one unit in Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, Zenless Zero, or Wuthering Waves. It's not fucking good. Making consumers aware of how much they're spending is very important to me as a guy who has destroyed his life by being unaware of how much I was truly spending.
And then you get into pay-to-win mechanics where people who spend more money have a better chance of winning.
The defense that HoYoverse titles aren't pay to win due to their lack of direct PvP is very misleading.
Gacha games can't even be pay to win if they don't even have any PvP. So that whole argument...
This might be one of the most retarded things I've ever heard in my whole life.
Higher spending in the game directly translates to acquiring superior characters, stronger abilities, and more powerful weapons, effectively transforming the completion of any in-game challenge into a simple credit card transaction.
If you get stuck on any challenge and you spend $10,000, that challenge will no longer exist. This is the most cope thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And winning doesn't only revolve or refer to PvP.
For further reference, the FTC's case specifically designates Genshin Impact's mechanics as pay to win, and HoYoverse's acceptance of the $20 million settlement serves as a de facto admission of the pay to win mechanics by HoYoverse themselves.
To reach users, you must spend a lot of money on ads, and they soak up more and more of the revenue through advertising. You find the greediest games spend the most money on ads, and then move up and up the charts until they completely dominate the ecosystem.
Between Q2 2023 and Q1 2024, miHoYo invested an estimated $300 million in Western marketing, a 487% year-over-year increase, dwarfing the combined Western market expense of Nintendo and Sony during the same period. This includes expansive campaigns with Xbox and PlayStation, alongside pervasive influencer marketing, often targeting child audiences, who glamorized loot box openings across platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch.
I should be the only motherfucker getting praise.
This culminated in miHoYo generating between 4.2 and 5.6 billion with a B in revenue for 2023. As Sweeney notes, this colossal advertising expenditure creates an investment funnel that actively stifles competition, rendering market entry virtually impossible for smaller studios who can't afford to match the influencer contracts and other artificially inflated marketing expenses.
Move up and up the charts until they completely dominate the ecosystem. And now the entire ecosystem is, well, to use Cory Doctorow's term, enshittified. but just the pervasive incentive of developers to adopt banned commercial practices.
The concept of enshittification is the insidious degradation of online platforms where initial user-centric services are gradually corrupted to prioritize profit maximization. This trajectory is starkly evident in HoYoverse games. Early game rewards are abundant, initial currency purchases are heavily discounted, yet this generosity slowly dissipates. Obtaining the necessary currency for loot boxes becomes an arduous grind, which shrewdly exploits FOMO and the sunken cost fallacy, compelling dedicated players into continuous expenditure. The intrinsic value shifts from player experience to corporate balance sheets, ultimately decaying the user experience. Yet, because this practice is profitable and the games that utilize them own a lion's share of the marketing, the entire industry follows suit, enshittifying not just the single game, but the entire ecosystem.
Genshin Impact is what people are using as their blueprint for a successful game. So when shady shit goes on in that game, other companies are going to think, oh, this company's doing it, which means we can get away with it too. Holy shit!
While Tim Sweeney refrained from explicitly naming mihoyo or HoYoverse, his commentary on predatory monetization, questionable advertising, and the enshittification of mobile gaming services paints an undeniable portrait. The parallels to HoYo's practices, amplified by the FTC's intervention, are unmistakable.
And if you look at how people do play Fortnite, how people spend in Fortnite, it's one of the most effective game economies that's ever existed. The average player is quite willing to spend money on outfits because of the generosity of outfits and the fact that they work everywhere you go and they're style transferred into different experiences and they're interoperable within all of the Fortnite islands. I think that there's an opportunity to build an economy by explicitly steering everything towards good commercial practices.
It's the battle of the live services, Fortnite versus Genshin Impact. What are your thoughts? Let me know who you prefer in the comments down below, share your insights, and for a deeper dive into game studios and game journalists succumbing to enshittification, you can check out the playlist right here.